All right, so y'all know what we do right about this time. You can turn mine down a little bit if you want. Sucker shit.
Now y'all extra technical. You must be deep off into some episodes. Turn me up and down in the headphones.
Turn me up in my headphones, son.
Yeah, now you that dude. So
Turn me up in my headphones, son.
So I was thinking, and this one, I'm gonna dedicate to your lovely wife. Okay, because we was talking about it.
We do have a wager.
Yeah. I don't often do relationship counseling. You know, that's one of the things that you guys do together. But I have a theory. The problem with many relationships, if no arrests have been made. Okay? Let me say that again. The problem in many of y'all relationships is that no arrests have been made. I'm gonna tell you a story. I was telling my son when me and his mom were together. Okay, we living in West LA. This one morning, get a knock at the door. Okay, it's the LAPD. Right, Mr. Towns live here? Yes, it's me. You go by JT? Yes, I do, officer. He said, you need to come down to the station for questioning. I said, any charges? He says, well, the neighbor said it was assault committed on your behalf. And I said, what are you talking about? I ain't touched nobody. He says, no, with all the noise that was going on in this apartment, we know you beat the puss up last night. I said, you don't have to ask no questions. You can just take me away. Where the cuffs at? See, that's the problem with a lot of y'all dudes in y'all relationship. Y'all short stroking. If you have not committed assault on your woman's hips, that's why she upset with you. That's why she cranky. Okay? Wow. So some arrests need to be made. I got multiple felonies on my record. Okay?
Call me Peter.
So you clean arrest record niggas, you on some sucker shit.
Peter the boom boom beater.
I wasn't close.
What's up, Pete?
I wasn't close. So I know she's not going to be close.
I had no idea where that was going.
I've been thinking about this shit, since Thursday?
I made a $1,000 bet with Emily. I told her the premise, and I said, if you guess where I go, I give you $1,000 straight up.
No, actually, he said 100,000 pesos.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, rate of exchange. You know what I'm saying? Unless you convert to euro, I'll take that in crypto.
Oh man, yeah, I did not see that one. My guess was way off. All right,
that was awesome.
It was
Truly.
You got any more?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay.
I got two more.
Okay. Here we go. Sucker shit.
So I was thinking. So despite my wide frame, my favorite sport always has been, always will be basketball.
Yes, sir.
So I was doing a little research. I was high.
Okay.
And I was doing a little research. Because, you be thinking about stuff. And I was like, all-time leaders and this and that. So check this out. So in the NBA, all-time scoring, they had to write this down too, was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 38,387 points. Assists, John Stockton, 15,806 assists. Rebounds, Wilt Chamberlain, 23,924, and then block shots, Hakeem Olajuwon, 3,830. That's the NBA all-time leaders in the major categories. So I thought about my own NBA called the No Bullshit Association. Okay. So in my NBA, okay, the all-time leader in scoring isn't Kareem, it's Wilt Chamberlain. Okay, because they said Wilt in his book, he said he slept with over 50,000 women. Okay, he was scoring like a mug. All right. So now I don't know what officially Wilt died of, but I think it was exhaustion. Sperm depletion. He was out. Okay, he got no nuts left. Now, the all-time leader in my NBA in assists is not one person. It's a group. It's the wingmen. Okay? So for y'all to, well, if you don't know this, whatever, I'm gonna help you. The wingman is the homeboy that goes and jumps on the grenade for his boy so he could get action.
How's that L?
Yes. So say you out, ladies, and you have your handsome friend with you, right? And I have to go occupy your handsome friend while Rennie gets action with you. I am a wingman, and that is an assist. Okay, when it comes to that, I'm Magic Johnson level in assisting. Okay, now the all-time leader in rebounds, okay, is what I like to call the emergency dude. Okay, he's the fire extinguisher. It always sits in the corner in the glass. You don't break it in case, unless it's an emergency. So who is the dude? He's the homeboy that's got all the girlfriends that he ain't messing with, but he's just around. So when I break your heart, in case of emergency, break glass. He gonna catch you on the rebound. Okay, that's the only way he getting laid. Okay, so a little fire extinguisher cat leads the NBA in rebounds, but the last one who leads the league in block shots is your homegirl. That same homegirl from the assist category is at every bar, restaurant, lounge, club, family barbecue, bar mitzvah, quinceañera, pop-up, okay? She's at every opening and closing, standing next to you, stopping your action. You meet a girl, you vibing, you talking, and oh, here come old Hakeem. You know, she gonna block that shot. Oh, it's time for us to go. I was like, if you don't get your handsome ass away from us right now, okay? So the league leader in block shots is Keisha. Sorry if your name is Keisha, that's just the name I gave you, okay? Keisha has 3,847,204 5, 6 block shots.
And counting.
Some of these NBA niggas is on some sucker shit.
Wow. That was, yeah.
My boy wrote a whole thing on the Glass Dicks Henry. Talking about the in case of emergency break glass. Dr. Brian Brown of Stanford University.
That's what I'm saying. I've been watching these dudes for years. I'm like,
Oh, man. And for the record, Lebo's a great wingman.
oh yeah.
Because he done jumped on a couple of grenades that I witnessed.
Hey man, when you say good dude, that doesn't quantify that cat. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't.
There aren't enough words for that. There
Not
aren't
enough words for the ghost. All right. You got one more? He was crushed. He was crushed by the handsome chick. All right. We
Or
got one more,
unhandsome.
Jay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, sucker shit.
So I was thinking
Uh-oh.
about one of the most popular TV shows, right? That's out. And you got all these different shows, all the performers and this, and that. You got The Voice. They turn around with the chairs. You got the OG American Idol, right? But I was thinking about The Masked Singer, okay? So this will be ongoing. But I was like, I know a couple masked singers. So my first character, okay, this is the dude that grows up in the suburbs but tries to act like he from the hood, right? What's about 8 Mile Clarence?
Clarence. Yeah.
Clarence had good parents.
Yeah.
That dude, right?
With the clan, bro.
Like your mom is a member of the PTA and your dad's a dentist. Why you got a wife beater on Crenshaw? Take your ass back up to Rolling Hills Estates, okay, and stop bullshitting, okay? So that's the chameleon, okay? That's the chameleon in The Masked Singer, okay? But my favorite is this one. This is the person that wants to argue with you, but they only like overheard one smart line or one paragraph, and then if you ask one or two questions, they can't do nothing else.
Shit crumble.
Right? Those are my folks that have been in the echo chamber, and then you see them go out and try to debate somebody that read 3 pages of a book and they crushed. Okay, and now they got to go hide in their safe space, right? And get the comfort dog to pet. All right. This is the person that goes, well, I heard, and then you give them the actual numbers and data, and they go, well, where'd you get that from? Oh, well, Google.
The Google machine.
Right? Well, I heard. Okay, but what did you read? Did you research? Did you read? Did you do anything? So this one is who I call the parrot. Okay, so the parrot is going to be on the Masked Singer. It's going to be more coming, but just know that all the Masked Singers is on some sucker shit.
Dude got 1 million of them, bro.
Hey, man. That's what happens when we leave so much time in between. We could have had 5 more.
1 million of them, man.
Oh no, it's way more in the works.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that came
The
out.
fleshed
Oh
out.
my goodness.
So Emily will not be collecting her grand.
She will not be collecting her grand.
Yep.
Yep. Hey, welcome back to Skinny Black's Lounge. I am the moderator here, Rob, aka Skinny Black, and to my left,
Rennie.
yep, and to his left,
JT, period is silent. Hi, Mom.
and as always, we have our special guest to his left,
Lebo.
my man. All right, man. Hey, hey, welcome back, and we're here in the spot, and we got a couple of exciting topics that we want y'all to dive into. Again, as you hear the topics, please comment, share. I hope it sparks some conversation between you and your peoples. So yeah, hit us in the comments, and what we do, we'll look at the comments. We might even do a part 2 or whatever, y'all commenting on. So here we go. So let's get started. Got a couple of 2-3 good topics today. We're going to start out with the topic of fear. So before we get into it, I want to read the definition. Fear, noun, a distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil, pain, etc. Whether the threat is real or imagined, the feeling or condition of being afraid. 2, a specific instance or propensity for such a feeling. Verb, to regard with fear, to be afraid of, to have reverential awe of, to have fear, to be afraid, to feel apprehensive or uneasy. So that's the definition. So just want to drop this in here, a couple of questions. What role does fear play in your lives? In what ways have you recognized, been affected, or overcome fear? And in what ways or how do you embrace fear now?
Yeah. It's a lot.
Pick one. Dive in.
Okay.
He
I think
found
fear is
he found
evolved.
the dictionary with the longest words for a definition. How you have a definition with 37 letters for a 4-letter word? But go ahead.
Apprehensive, reverential, propensity.
Yeah, I was
Oh, man.
Hey, you got to use a dictionary to figure out what
what the word was. Like, oh man, you sent me down a rabbit hole for a 4-letter word. Hey, you went deeper on fear than we can go with love. That's what's wild.
Yeah.
I think fear, for me, evolved because you have your fear of these unknowns, and you're younger, and it's the not knowing portion of it that creates the fear. And the odd thing about that is, what religion does is, religion tells you to not fear something, but usually you're fearing what's unknown, and they tell you to not fear the unknown with an even greater unproven unknown. Hey man, you got the Lord. You have God.
But they also tell you should fear him more.
Exactly.
Don't fear this. Fear
Fear
this.
that. And exactly. It's that cycle. But it's not tangible. It's not anything you could put any eyes or see, and it's not physical for you. But yet you shouldn't fear it. So right from the very beginning, it's kind of contradictory because you're getting gaslit in a way with religion in that regard when it comes to fear. And then there's that aspect, that very physical aspect of being a child, and your parents debunking fear by physically showing you things like, turn this light on, look at this, there's nothing there. And so there's a very tangible aspect to facing fear. But also fear is the one thing that we give very little nuance to when explaining. It's the one emotion we say, oh man, don't be scared. Oh, okay. Shit, you said don't be scared. I guess I won't be scared anymore. Fear has zero little nuance to it. Little nuance. Like we're just like, oh, don't. And we're all being guilty of that in some aspect, specifically when it's not an easy explanation, So as you get older and you get these things that become known and you start to move beyond that. Now your fears evolve into things that kind of manifest maybe in anxiety. And so you start to fear change. You start to fear challenging yourself into spaces of discomfort. And so that's where most of my fear now as a man, manifests is tacking that discomfort, and then coupling fear is married with failure. And once I learned that failure was a part of the process, it made it easier for me to go at fear of things. Like, hey, man, I failed a whole lot.
Yeah, hell yeah.
At this point, why are you tripping?
No, it's no just straight arc to success. It's full of failure.
Yeah.
When I think of fear, before I even say this, I'm glad you cleaned up that religion thing, because you was about to have a bunch of church ladies out protesting by your car. It was gonna be white stockings, hats, and Epsom salt. But when I think of fear, I think of fire. And fire is not good or bad, it's a tool. Fire can, warm your house and cook your food, and it can burn your damn house down.
Yeah.
Fear is a necessary part of us. It is actually a gift to me.
It's an essential emotion.
But fear can also paralyze you. I've seen people get in situations, they get scared, and they are stuck. I mean, literally cannot move, right? And then I see other people embrace fear, because on the other side of it is some of your greatest successes. So it's a tool, right? And what we're taught in our society is so much stuff is black and white. It's good or bad. And if we say it's bad, don't you ever go behind the curtain, right? Well, usually behind that curtain is knowledge, right? And that's why they're telling you to stay away, because they don't want you to grow stronger. So embracing your fear, embracing the reasons behind why you have those fears, is probably will lead to some great success, Yeah. No, I was dope. You writing hard.
Back to what you were saying about in embracing the fear, because it's a part of the gamut of emotions. And like we were saying earlier, it's the one with the least amount of nuance and understanding how much fear serves you in spaces. You hear something dangerous, you hear something that's suspicious, and you take off, and then you later on find out that was warranted. Fear serves you
exactly
in that purpose, and so and not to go at religion, but we could think about the conflicting messages that it sends. Like there's a quote, there's a passage: "There's no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not perfected in love.
But love casts out fear.
You know what I mean? And this is John chapter 4, verse 18.
If it's not there, there's nothing to cast out. Okay,
You know what I mean? And so we're indoctrinated into this. We're indoctrinated when we should be embracing it.
Yeah.
We should be embracing it and saying, okay, what is this? What is this that I'm feeling? Why am I fearing? And man, love is scary. What are you talking about? To make that endeavor?
Yeah.
That's how you identify the profundity of the love. Like, yo, because I've never felt this vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, and see, when people hear love, they think it's just like these adult relationships. Think of it this way. Like I had a fear of not being a good father. I didn't have a good relationship with my father. You know, no judgment on him, but we just didn't have a good relationship. You know, I rarely saw him, and he's passed on now. So when I had my oldest, my son, man, a bunch of fear hit me, you know, the day after he was born, you know, and a lot of brothers get in that situation and they are paralyzed. And what we don't do is we don't get to understand each other, right? We don't say, okay, this is his background. He didn't have a relationship with his father didn't have a relationship with his father. He has no blueprint. He has no roadmap. But all we know is good or bad. So bad, deadbeat dad, boom, he's out of there, right? He has no arms around him. He has no training. He has no love. I've seen women in other situations where, well, you got to understand what she's been through, right? And I'm not excusing any behavior, okay? Because I'm an advocate of being a father to your children, right? I don't even hang out with dudes that don't take care of their families, right? But you have to have an understanding so you can bring people up, right? In my situation, it propelled me to be the best possible father I could be. But I've seen the flip side, and I understand the emotion, because on that first day, when all those thoughts and my entire childhood and everything hit me, man, okay,
The weight.
you know, and it's like, okay, now I got a life I'm responsible for. Right? What's the blueprint for this? Right? So, I mean, like you said, fear is a necessity, but then you tied in what I said, it's a tool. How do you use it? Does it paralyze you or does it propel you?
Yeah, and so as we unpack and have this conversation, I'm curious as to how did you get to the point to where you embrace fear now? You had those aha moments about, oh, this shit is cool. Actually, it has use and it is a tool. How'd you get to that point?
I mean, it's the analysis of your emotions and what's happening to you in the space when it's happening, like what is going on, and then the process that you take to identify what your emotions are and then how those emotions are manifesting in your actions. So for instance, I spent years trying not to be my father, you know, even though I was raised by great men. His absence triggered an analysis of everything that I did, because I'm of his image, I'm of his genetic code. And so that fear was guiding every single thing that I did. And then I had to really examine myself. And, you know, one of my friends was like, man, you're a good dude. And he's like, no, man, you're a good dude. Like he had to just tell it to me in my face, like, yo. And then I had to have an understanding, like, man, I was so busy trying not to be this cat that I was never this dude. I was his son, but I was never him.
Yeah, you one-on-one.
Yeah. I was never him. And that revelation brought on by my man Calvin, like, yo.
One of the powers that fear holds over us is that it has you concentrating on what you don't want to be, what you're not, instead of concentrating on what you are, what you can be, what your vision of yourself is. I had the same thing. I don't want to be like my father, versus what kind of father do I want to be?
Bingo.
Right? But fear keeps you over here. I don't want to get hit. All right? I'm a boxer. I don't want to get hit. Instead of, I want to learn how to defend myself.
Yeah, so much of what we do is addition by subtraction.
So what fear will do if you don't confront it is it takes away all of your power. It puts you in a perpetual victimhood state. But if you challenge the fear and you embrace it, you will find your power. On the other side of that fear is the power, right? But we are conditioned to be afraid. We're also conditioned now to be eternal victims, right? If I asked you a question, what are we gonna do about this? And your response to me is, well, they said I couldn't do it. Well, we talking about me and you right now.
Right.
Well, what's they? There's always somebody behind some damn curtain over here that's stopping us from doing what we're supposed to do. Well, that's fear.
Right.
And you give up your power in fear.
And it's that, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Like that state, don't be scared. You haven't given me any tools to not be scared.
That's a dumbass statement.
It
by the way.
is.
No,
And-
be
and-
scared.
Yes.
And then address it.
Exactly. Because until you confront the fear, you can't overcome it.
Right.
So there's nothing in the dark, until somebody holds your hand, pulls you over to it as a child and flicks the light on and says, man, there's nothing there. And then you go, oh, but who's triggering that light switch in your life other than yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't overcome it until you confront it. And if you've been told that you shouldn't fear it, how do you analyze it? How do you have an understanding of the nuance of fear? Because you've been conditioned constantly and told that you shouldn't be scared.
Well, another lie that we've been told, there's people, well, I'm grown. Okay. In your scenario, the kid needs the parent to flip the light switch and give counsel. Well, just because you're grown doesn't mean you don't have counsel anymore.
Right.
Now, in a perfect world, you can flip your own light switch. But there are times when, just like you said, your friend needs to remind you, hey, man, you a good dude. I've had to be reminded. Hey, you a good, and I've also been reminded the opposite. My sister told me one day, she said, I love you, but I don't like you.
Yeah. Hey.
And she was spot on because I was tripping. But that's wise counsel.
Right.
Right? And how many of us shun wise counsel, and then all we want is confirmation?
Out of fear of being told what we are.
Some of y'all niggas is preachers looking for a choir.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, a man told me one time, and I won't say his name because people may know him. It's okay to be scared, but don't be afraid. So it's okay to have the butterflies. It's okay to recognize, but don't let that stop you. That's what I took from that.
Yeah.
So it was that nuance piece. It's like, and for years, I always thought about that anytime I got into a situation, from a roller coaster to standing in front of people talking. It was, okay, let me recognize that I am a little scared, but don't be afraid. I ain't gonna die from this shit, right? So that helped me a lot on that nuance piece. Yeah.
Well, and you see this in the development of young men, or the lack of development of young men, because they think that bravado, they think that plastering over some of this stuff with aggressiveness, I'm not scared. And they puff their chest out.
Like, shit, I'm scared.
Man, I'll put a pin in your chest. Okay, all that air is gonna come out, and it's like, no, you should feel that. I feel it.
Yeah.
Right. But now what we're gonna do with it? We're gonna take that and we're gonna transform it. And we're gonna use that energy and we're gonna overcome.
Exactly.
And then what you won't have to do after that is it won't be hot air. You'll develop the muscle memory to confront that fear over and over again. And now you're building up that muscle. It's an exercise. My fear was a girl named Letitia in elementary school at Wadsworth Avenue.
Oh.
She pressed me up against the bungalow and told me that I was her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Letitia was bigger than me, and I was her boyfriend. I became Letitia's boyfriend. She gave me a necklace, a little charm. All right, I came home. My grandma was like, "Who gave you that necklace?" I was like, "Letitia did." So,
Oh, she had planned that out.
yeah. And so, she just sit and watch me play basketball and everything. And hey, if you out there, Letitia, I don't remember your last name, but you punked me pretty good. And I told myself after that, I will never fear another woman, okay, in my life. So Letitia, thank you, okay, with your big ass. She was big as hell in elementary school.
Hey, it's funny you say that because I was just talking to one of our Sands. You talked to him too earlier this week. We got to check in and see how that went. And he brought up this specific, he interviewing for another position in the job. And he brought up specifically, he said, listen, after the interview we had to get in this fraternity, he was like, there's nothing you can do to me. Right? So that action, that activity, I always think about and I find these places and spaces where I think about how pledging a fraternity ends up being de facto rite of passage in some ways, right? Because there are, we ain't gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater, but there are some specific things that happen, and the way they happen really does prepare you for life. We always say it's a microcosm. Everything you experience in that time frame is like a microcosm of life. And that interview shit, I was scared as shit, right? But on the other side of it, hell, going through that whole process, scared as shit. Always the night of, what's gonna happen tonight, right? Well, fuck it, we're just gonna do it, right? And then you on the other side is like, we didn't die.
No, but
so what am I scared of?
No, okay, but think about how irrational fear makes you. Mm-hmm. Okay, all of us have experienced this. It's just a gang of women that's scared of like ants and a roach, a fly, and they'll see a little car and they'll flip out, and I'll be like, that roach scared of you. Right? They will jump on the couch, kill it, and then, you stomp on and get the towel, throw it away. All right, you can get off the couch now, right? But that's the irrational fear. Mm-hmm. Now you're talking about something that you don't know what's on the other side of it. I'm talking about something as simple as a small thing crawling on the ground that you can visually see, that you know that you're more powerful than, right? So how do they train an elephant at the circus? Well, when the elephant is small, they tie a rope around the elephant, boom, right? And when you go, they don't do this no more because, PETA done banned circuses and shit. But you would see an elephant with a rope tied around, let's call it an ankle, because I don't know what they call it, the foot, right? And that elephant, with all its might, could snap that thing like a little twig and walk away. Mm-hmm. But it's been trained by fear and control. All you have to do is tie it, and they won't move. Yeah. We are a people that have been controlled by fear.
Oof. Yes.
And and now all they have to say are a few buzzwords to us and watch us spin. Right? Because that's all our fear.
Yep.
And they have you looking beyond your initial threat and what you should be fearful of in front of you, and saying that something on this other side here is going to comfort you. So don't sweat this right here. There's a real threat right here in front of you that you need to be confronting. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, no, man. No,
not that.
Not that.
Be scared of that.
Yeah, right
that
there.
That thing that ain't moving.
Yeah.
Now, I got something for you guys. And this ties into manhood. As black men, we've been trained to be afraid of the very women that we're supposed to lead. How many brothers do we all know that are scared of women? That are scared of their woman?
I mean,
and that are operating in their relationships out of fear.
Shit, I did that.
Disguised as reverence. just disguised as respect. Oh, you don't want to say that. You
Honor.
can't do that. Yeah.
Honor,
And
duty.
Men don't trifle with that kind of stuff right there, man. You know what I mean? Just man up. It's just man up. Like, that BS. That part.
I can't say that to her.
Yeah.
Well, what's she gonna do? Shoot you?
That's all you can.
And if she is gonna shoot you, you definitely with the wrong one.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can leave Annie Oakley's ass alone.
So you're fearing an emotional reaction.
Who knew you was dating Queen Latifah from Set It Off?
We fear emotional reactions.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares about an emotional reaction? Who cares? What is that going to do to you?
And that paralyzes our ability to lead.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid to disrupt.
And we also, growing up, we aren't seeing what that male leadership looks like. So we grow up in these homes and we don't witness what our leadership looks like. And then what does it translate to?
Well, there's a couple of things that's working, right? So, and one of you guys said it earlier, and it was the vulnerability piece, right? Love is vulnerability. Love is vulnerable. And so when we talk about the fear and the leading in our women, and it's like, what instances have we witnessed leadership and vulnerability, right? Our grandfathers, was no vulnerability in that leadership. They did it in certain ways where it might have been affectionate, like how you telling you like your pops come grab you, and he never said it.
Yeah.
But he showed it.
Yeah.
Right.
But the flip side of that is, at what point do we see leadership and vulnerability at the same time?
I saw a vacuum. So the more volatile the situation got, the more emotional the women got, the more my grandfather and my pops, they snatched that out of the room. They take it out. They go down. Like, they just go, and they stay the path. And I have an understanding of now that there's a way, that was their way of getting control of all that volatility of the emotion, because there was always more women around than men. And so that emotion was like fire, like you said, man, that would ignite one and tip their off, and they'd be like, oh, no. They'd step in there and absorb that emotion. Let's not get it twisted. It's not like they're not repelling it. They're absorbing it. They're steadying the ship. But then what do they do with that when they take that on? Now they've taken that on. They've taken that emotion on. And then they have the understanding that they know what that little spark can do in that space. And then now they're working to run around and stomp out that spark, because they fear of what could happen in that room. And now they're carrying the burden of trying to keep that emotion quelled for all that time.
Emotion is great in the sprint, but it's terrible in the marathon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how my parents got divorced. My pops was like, moms go ballistic. Pops was, the more ballistic she got, the calmer he got. The calmer he got, the more ballistic she got. Her word, not mine, right? She didn't use ballistic though. But
That's part of why I got divorced.
So let's go back to it though. That's the calming piece. Where does vulnerability fit in it? Like, where have we seen
There is no space. I didn't see it.
that? But that's my question. Like, that's the missing piece, right?
Well, if you, in the situation that we find ourselves in now, it's very difficult, extremely difficult to be vulnerable. If we're talking about in a relationship space, because that's a weapon that'll be used against you at a later date.
I wrote that down. Weaponized against black.
So most of the time when I choose to be vulnerable is with like you guys, sharing things with you, different fears, thoughts, concerns that I'm having. And that doesn't mean that I won't share things with the woman I'm with, but I won't present it in that way, right? I think of it as, I'm the mic stand and you the Temptations. And you dance all over the damn stage and you come back to me, and that's how my mind works. I'm not saying that that's the best thing or, and other people say, oh, you should, but I've seen it become a baseball bat in a billy club down the road, so that's been the decision that I've made, okay? And maybe it's just I need to do more self-work and maybe I'll attract somebody that's a little bit more evolved, okay? But I don't think that the upbringing and the training that most of us are going through equips us to understand male vulnerability.
Or even gives us the space
That.
to do it. And I mean, I just stopped sharing it to women. Like, you get these, specifically when you're in your 20s, you know what I mean? And then you get into this super intimate space with a woman that you love, 20s, late 20s, early 30s, and they're sharing the most vulnerable things with you, right? And for you, you're taking all that in, and then you're using that in a space of gaining understanding.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, when I do this kind of triggers this. Even before you knew what these words were, like triggers and things like that. You got an understanding of it. And then what do? You go ahead and reveal something in that because you think you're in the tree of trust. And then in this, you do something. It's going to happen. You do something, and there's a space where you've hurt this woman. It just happens. And then that piece of vulnerability that you put out there, completely out of context, inapplicable to the situation.
Oh, it's coming.
Comes back like a friggin' dart, sword to attack you with. Okay. And it's wielded against you like a sting, fortress around my heart. And he makes the analogy, as I across the lands I've known, I recognize the field where I once played, had to stop in my tracks for fear of walking on the mines I laid. Like he's talking about, I'm coming back to the shit that I did, and now the stuff is coming back, except this time, like it's not supposed to come back like that, because never in that space do I ever say, man, you doing this because your daddy, yada, yada, yada.
Exactly.
And you only like this because your mama did, yada, yada. It would never, ever. And I don't know the dudes that do this. And not to say that those dudes don't exist. Dudes, there's some sucker ass cats out there.
Of course.
But the cats I know don't wield your vulnerability back at you as a weapon to hurt you. We'll do some fucked up shit inadvertently. It may hurt you to your core. We may do some selfish shit in the process of being self-indulgent and hurt you to the core.
Yeah.
But what we're not going to do is take something that you told us in confidence and then wield it back at you. And from 17 to 40, every woman I had ever been with, 17 to 45, has taken something that I had said in confidence and thrown it back at me. Now, that could be part of my choices and who I choose. And part of that is that. So part of that's on me. But I'm a pretty evolved cat, and there's a diverse group of women there, and all of them have managed to do it. So what does that say?
Well, there's I'm just spitballing here, you know, but there's some fear in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's you have this emotion, you have these feelings, and they might be tied to childhood. They may be tied to previous relationships. They may be tied to parents, siblings. They may be tied to any kind of events. Well, the fear is I'm going to get you before you get me, or the fear is, you know, I'm going to make you feel how I'm feeling, instead of doing the inner work to say, well, where's this coming from? Okay, is my feeling this person's intent, or am I feeling something that's really connected to inside of me, right? One of the wackest ass sentences people say is, look what you made me do. As if I have the control over all of your functions. Look at what you made me do, not look at what I did, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that fear does, right? Mm-hmm. And where there is fear, which is taken over negatively, there is definitely going to be a lack of accountability. Mm-hmm. Those two
go hand in hand.
They don't play well together.
Yeah.
You know.
Man, I mean, I think we're really beginning to scratch the surface of this analysis around another level of fear around vulnerability in our relationships. Because you asked a question, like, how does fear show up in our relationships with our women? And yo, man, and I think there's something there that we're struggling with across the board. You know, whether it's the retaliation and weaponizing of our words and our moments of vulnerability back against us, you know, out of, you know, some bullshit as emotional reaction. And the question is, you just sprinkled it in, so I'm gonna run with it. You sprinkled in accountability. So what does accountability look like, or what role does accountability play for Black men in particular? Because I feel like it's different, right? So I'm gonna just connect this before I pass it on and say, in a moment of vulnerability, I'm sharing something then with someone I'm close to and intimate with. They then in turn, outside of that moment, use that and weaponize it to hurt me. Mm-hmm. As an accountable Black man, I am held accountable to how I react or respond to the use of that.
Yeah. 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 So that goes back to what did you say about when a woman attempts to be physical with a man, you're counting on what exactly?
Counting on all my home training.
Exactly.
You counting on everything that you wasn't around to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That encapsulates that right there. Right there.
And so knowing what we have to do internally to not explode, you know, why put ourselves in that position?
Yeah. Why even deal with that? Because it gets to that point, and you know, I know now that anytime that comes back at me in that space, we're done. We're done.
It's a wrap.
We're done.
But that's something that you've come to over years.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It took me years to have an understanding that at that point, mentally, what we were is done. Mm-hmm. The only way we can now reconcile what we are, or any form of relationship, is to start anew with a completely different understanding and a completely different set of rules. Because once you did that, once you engaged in that way, mm-hmm. you have violated all levels of trust. Just like when women say, oh, well, you know, infidelities and things like that, and that changes irreparable damage. Yeah, okay, I can get that, and I can roll with that. And that's that portion, that attacking, you know what I mean, and you reacting from your fear and from your hurt mm-hmm. in such a way, and acting and maneuvering in a space to wound. Mm-hmm. It's done. It's done. And the judgment, and here's more than anything, you know what I mean? It's the societal judgment of our vulnerability within that. And then that feeds the fear of us even wanting to be vulnerable in any space. Because even a cat, and with some justifiable emotion, you will hear other black men say, not just women, other black men say, yeah, man, but you got to expect that. What? So then I'm just not supposed to have it. You know what I mean? I'm just not supposed to have it. Like, oh man. So then basically I should expect the police to be fucked up to me. And so then I should have no reaction to me getting my ass beat.
So nobody else should be accountable but you.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my mind goes to two places. Accountability, it goes not just accountability. There's multiple levels and different facets of this. But if you are involve yourself with someone that is truly accountable, they will shine light in places that you don't want light shown on, that's going on within yourself.
It's called triggers.
Right? And we can have, you can take a note. Triggers. That's gonna be a whole nother topic, because that, man, I need chapstick every time somebody start talking about triggers. But so accountability. This is a thing that I enjoy. It's satire. So I hold myself to a fairly decent to high standard of accountability, and then I'm involved with someone. And it doesn't have to be like sexual relations. I'm talking about even friendships, coworkers, this and that. Well, they see my standard, and then what they want to do is hold me to that standard while still allowing themselves to not be held to a standard. Right? Well, you said, I'm like, well, 57 times last week you said something and you didn't follow up on it. Right? And so what I've come to realize is that everybody is rocking and comfortable at their level. So my accountability is for me, and it does not go past me. If we're doing something together and you don't fit the bill, I'm not gonna shame you. I'm not gonna judge you. I just know, okay, I can't do business with this person. I can't do this particular thing with this person because they don't rock like that, right? Everybody's walking their own path. So you can keep all your societal standards. You can keep I'm supposed to put my cape on and fly in when the bullets are flying and be Superman, My accountability and my standard is for me. I'm self-contained, right? And at the end of the day, unlike most people, I look in the mirror and I like what I see.
Yeah. So what's the difference in accountability for black men? And I say that when I hear something you introduced, well, you should expect that. So you should expect some sort of negative shit from the cops. You should expect, your lady to act irrational in a certain way. You should expect, so if you expect it, then why get bent out of shape and prepare for it? And so it's like, oh, so I'm the only one in the space that has to do the self-work. Wow, that's a hard, heavy ass challenge that gets lumped on our back.
Yeah.
The evolution of the good black man from what my grandfather, I say our grandfather's requirements were to what the requirements are now. But it looked like my grandfather, our grandfathers, hardworking men, take care of the family, protect the family, provide, lead, you good, right? Rock, pillar of strength, boom, check the boxes. That's a good man. Okay, so this new evolved black man has to do all those things, but he also has to have the empathy of a therapist. Okay, he has to have the comedic skills of Cedric the Entertainer. Okay, He's got to work hard, but if he doesn't make enough, he's got to get a side hustle too. And then after he does that, got to get home and help with the dishes. You know, he has to also have domestic skills, okay, because we have the thing called unpaid labor now, okay? I thought that was slavery. Not, you know, there was no palm olive for unpaid labor, but that's okay, okay? In addition to that.
Mr. Marcus.
Right.
The kids.
I was getting there. In addition to that, he also has to be a sexual just slayer. Yeah. Okay. All right. He gonna Viagra commercials.
As like my grandfather said.
You got to get arrested.
A swordsman.
Yeah.
A swordsman.
A swordsman. Give her
or a
lashing.
coxman.
Give her lashings.
Yes. You know, and then you ever seen a job description, and then that last line says and other duties.
And other duties.
So
as
even
required.
if you do all that, if the person you with has feelings about some other things that came up,
Catch y'all. Go ahead and do that.
You got to do that too.
and other duties,
Yeah,
right? And then
that's on you.
you're a good man.
Only then.
But most of the stuff on the list have nothing to do with anything that benefits you. The standard of being a good man is what benefits the person that's receiving things.
Yeah.
So are you really a good man?
Right.
Or are you a good employee?
Good servant.
Yeah.
Good servant, good giver.
I would say employee, you know, I was
Good
trying to give him a
giver.
little more status.
Employees get paid.
Right.
Okay, you took that away.
Yeah.
All right, I take my employee back.
Yeah.
You know, but I was thinking, you know, it's a lot of y'all niggas employee of the month. Future sucker shit.
Oh, here you come. Here you come. Man, because, you know, that brings me to the point. If all of that expectation, if accountability is defined and it looks like that for us as black men, 2 questions, and I'll throw the first one out there first. The first question is, what do we get for that?
The big piece of chicken?
Nope.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
no more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
That's what we used to get.
Yeah. I don't know.
How you get the big piece of chicken when nobody cook?
Yeah. When you bring it home?
Yeah,
It's in a bucket.
Cooking is an insult.
Yeah.
It's in the bucket. It's in the
Cooking is a-
12 piece.
He didn't marry me for my cooking.
Cooking is an insult. Don't you gotta eat too? Shit.
Well, we got to take them out. No, seriously. What do we get for bringing?
Ah, man, I'm at that was my
to the
way
table.
of saying I have no idea. That was, you know what I mean? Like,
I have no idea.
yeah, because it's basically saying you should get gratification in service.
I'm past the point. I'm past the point at looking to someone else to give a gift, to give appreciation,
Affirmation.
to give anything. I said earlier, and I really mean it, self-contained. I was having a conversation with one of my aunts, and we ended up having a really good sit down. I got you. And she was talking about, she says, you know, the woman I envision you with, she was like, because you're a provider. You know, I tend more old school, like the men that raised me in that way. And she was like, but you know, you need a woman. She said, you know, you need a woman that's going to appreciate you. Then what was the word she used? It wasn't appreciate. It wasn't admire. It was another level. And of course, because I can't think of the word she used, but it hit me. Revere.
Yeah. Oof.
She said, you need a woman that will revere you. And that hit me in the chest because I've thought about many of the things I've done for people that I love, and I couldn't even get appreciation. I was like, much less get to the reverence level. And I knew what she meant by revere. Some people, your word, be triggered when they hear revere.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you're with somebody that will love you, protect you, provide for you, that will pour into you, and that is selfless, shouldn't they be revered?
I mean,
why is it an insult to revere somebody that is that loving towards you? I want my future wife, I want to revere my future wife. And if I don't, why would I want to be married to her?
Yeah.
Why would I want to walk through this life with somebody that I don't have reverence for?
Yeah. So I'd say that your self-contained comment is key, because we're going to do all of the things that we listed, not because it's someone else requires it. It's because we are working to be our best selves every day. We are working to be better today than we were yesterday. Some days we fall, some fall short. Some days we miss the mark, sinning, miss the mark. Someday we smash that shit.
He said, Mr. Marcus.
Yeah, some days we miss the mark us.
Sinning.
That's hitting the mark. Sinning is missing the mark. Me, Mr. Marcus is hitting the mark.
Pull the hat down tight.
You know what I'm saying?
Pull the
Keep
hat down
on.
tight. Pull the hat down tight.
But I say all that to say that the things that we talked about today that we do, the self-contained piece is correct. Is to me is spot on, because, and I tell clients this because I had to learn it. Everything you need is within you.
Yeah.
And if everything you need is within you, then the accolades, the accomplishments, the adoration, the reverence you'll find in the mirror.
And that's not to say that getting the compliments and getting that admiration isn't good, nice to hear.
No, I
But
hear
if
that.
but if it never comes, right?
Right.
Like, I don't need anybody to confirm what kind of man I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need anybody to confirm what kind of father I am, what kind of friend I am, what kind of son I am, what kind of brother I am.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I am.
Yeah, it doesn't
right.
mean you won't have low moments, but you have a full understanding of what you
And
are.
here's the key to knowing who you are.
Right.
One of them, being honest. Let's put it back on some accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Being honest about where you need to improve.
Yes.
Your evaluation is not more critical than my self-evaluation.
Yeah.
It's not more insightful. I've been in so many conversations where somebody say, and I say, I know. Yeah, that's true. I am like that. I'm really defensive about that. You're right.
I'll own it.
I'm not saying I'm gonna stay like that forever.
Exactly.
But as this current version of me, this is how I sit.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the accountability piece that I like to push for, and get away from societal, and get away from what the woman thinks, and get away from even your damn mama thinks. Okay, because she got her own issues.
Well, the flip side of that is they say, you do this, this, and this like this, man. And I say 100%, and I'm willing to accept all of what comes with that.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to own that.
That's it.
And have an understanding that that may not necessarily benefit me in these spaces over here. And I won't give zero fucks
That's it.
about what
That's
the
it.
fucking consequences are for that. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
That's my path. You know what I mean?
That's it.
My cross to bear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely comfortable because I made that choice myself, as opposed to you making it for me.
Yes.
Yeah. And here's the as we bring this full circle, as we think about our grandfathers who were doing what they were doing internally. They were holding it up. They were towing the line internally, without the accolades, without the big piece of chicken, without all the other shit. They did it because it was the right thing to do. They were being good men in their own eyes. So as we end how we started, the question is, and I'm checking myself on this, holding that generation accountable, because they didn't verbalize that shit for us to learn. We picked it up by watching, by figuring it out through our life experiences, and wanting them to help us and talk us through that shit, right? That's this generation. That's the evolution where we are now, to where even as, you know, 2 generations from our grandfathers, we're talking about shit more.
But
We're having different conversations with our kids.
That's cool, but the pendulum in a lot of cases has swung too far.
Too far.
And we're too feminized.
Yeah.
And now all we want to do is talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's twofold. It's the overly emotional side,
Yeah.
where then they're stuck in the emotions to the point of paralysis, and then there's the denial niggas
Right.
that say, "Man, buck up, man, fuck you."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you just as bad as this nigga over here.
Yeah.
You
We
know what I
got to
mean?
find the balance.
Exactly.
Gotta find
Exactly.
the lane.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for the ones that are here, you got to bring them this way. For
Yeah.
the ones that are here, you got to pull them this
Exactly.
way. You got to find the balance.
Yeah, cool.
You know?
I'm over in denial of what's going on with me, homie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't do anything for me for the greater good or anything like that. I'm over that suppression of what that is, because that is toxic and that will kill me.
No, you acknowledge, and you march.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't suppress. You acknowledge
Yeah.
it. And then, but if you have things to do, you got to take care of it. You acknowledge it. It's here, but I got to march.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then when I'm done marching, I'll deal with this.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But what we have is either suppression or we stuck here and not marching. And that's why as men we're not leading and not getting it done.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with that, let's wrap it up and say thank you all for being here. We trust that this conversation has been useful and valuable, and you can see it as a resource. Listen, however this lands with you, please give us some feedback. Give us some feedback in the comments, and share, and hopefully this conversation could be a place where you can build off of with other men, and for those who and for our women, and hopefully you got some insight about how we tick and how we move and how we maneuver. So with that, I like to say peace out, big ups to my man Dio behind the boards, hey, like, subscribe, comment, share. Skinny Blacks Lounge, we out. Peace.